Hey guys, Nikki here, and today I'm going to show you 3 simple exercises that you can do to kind of decrease tension in that TFL and strengthen your glutes. Stay tuned. So the exercise I'm going to show you today, clamshell, leg lift, and then also a monster walk. They're super simple exercises, but the key to this video is I want to show you kind of how to really use it to really use props to target your glutes and also to sort of take it out of your TFL if you tend to always feel it no matter what hip stability exercise you're doing. So first I'm going to show you what happens with the side leg lift when we don't use the props, and then I'm going to show you how to use it with the towel. So for a lot of us, when we go into a side leg lift, a few things happen. The first is we tend to lift our leg and kind of have it a little bit kicked forward, which automatically is going to bring you in the front of the hip, out of the back of your hip. And we also tend to be a little bit rolled back off of our hip. And then when we lift our leg, this kind of thing happens where we shorten in our hip even more and we shorten in our waist. And even if you get a really good stack here, so I'm going to slide my leg back now and try to be a little bit more stacked. When you lift your leg, it's easy because we tend to be a little bit weak here in these muscles to lift your leg by, again, hiking in your waist, and that's still going to sort of really overactivate that TFL a little bit. So what you can do, if you have up, you'll have to park it, but as I want to say. And then you actually bring that underneath your waist. And what that's doing now is it's creating space here for my waist, so it's going to be harder for me to shorten my hip when I lift my leg. So from here, once you've got the towel underneath your waist, you're going to check, again, still to be precise in your setup. So you want to, if your leg needs to be kicked forward, you want to slide it a little bit back just until your foot is in line with your sit bones. You want to make sure your pelvis is neutral, so you're not tucked and you're not way arched, somewhere in the middle. And you want to think one hip stacked over the other, but the beauty of the towel is it helps get you there. So you could go hand on hip, just to sort of, again, reinforce that stability as you lift and lower your leg. Or you could go hand on the ground. And then the last piece of this is for a lot of us when we lift our leg, we tend to be turned in our knee because, again, we're weak in those lateral hip stabilizers. And so if you turn the leg a little out, just till the knee faces forward, when you lift, you're going to, again, get a lot more of that outer hip and a lot less of that TFL. And again, you could do this for any side lying exercise. So you could do circles, front kickbacks, any of those side lying series you see sometimes in Pilates for I would do 10 to 15, and then you want to switch sides. So from here, the second thing you can do is the clamshell. Now, I see the clamshell done all the time with the knees really bent in, which isn't bad, but again, a lot of hip flexor. Like you're pretty much setting yourself up for hip flexor because you're in a lot of hip flexion. So if you send your feet out, so you kind of think of it more like an open clam, that's going to create a lot more space in the front of your hip. And the setup for the pelvis is the same. You want to think hips stacked one on top of the other, a little rolled forward, and again, neutral pelvis. You've got a tiny low back curve present, nothing too dramatic. Heels will stay together, and you'll slowly lift the leg up and then take it back down. And as you do this, you want to be mindful that as you lift your leg, you don't fall back with your hips. So the hips stay forward, and you're just lifting the leg. And again, the nice thing is between the towel and the knees being a little bit less bent is it's a lot easier to find your glutes, so you don't have to think so hard about it. And again, I like to hold it at the top of each rep, kind of own it, really feel that my glute is kicking on before I lower it down. And again, you could do 10, 12, even 15 of them, assuming you can do it with good form before switching legs. All right, so last exercise to show here is monster walk. So you want to step onto your band, and depending on if your band's real, probably don't do this, but this band's pretty light. So for me, I tend to start my feet a little bit close, and then I'll kind of walk them a little bit wider so I've got some tension there. And then you can cross your band and hook it up at your hips. So in doing this, before you go, you want to think alignment. So for a lot of us, if we just sort of be ourselves, our feet will collapse in, our knees will collapse in, and again, you'll notice now my legs are turning inward, which is going to get me into my TFL and hip flexor and a little out of my glutes. So you want to think about kind of creating a little bit of a wrap through your backside to sort of rotate your thigh bones open and let the knees come over the second toes. And then if you're like me, you tend to collapse a little in your feet. You can want to think about a little bit of weight in the outside edge of the foot, but still keep the big toe mounds connected. And then for a lot of us, when we go into a monster walk, what'll happen is we'll just kind of step forward, and however it falls, it falls. And you'll notice for me, again, my knee is in, my foot is out, so not so ideal. So when you do your walk, you kind of can think about stepping a little bit out to come down, and then a little bit out to come down. And what this will do is it helps, again, kick off the lateral stabilizer in your glutes, and it keeps the knee over the second toe. So a little more glute, let's TFL.
Think getting fit requires being in pain? Well, it doesn't have to. Click the link below the video to download the Better Movement Starter Kit, a free training program to help you build foundational strength, improve alignment, and decrease your risk of injury in 15 minutes a day.